4.1, our farmers market report. Uh, is Andy here to present? I'll just briefly go over then her written market updates. They've got concrete ramps and sidewalks that have been poured. They'll be ADA compliant, making access to the public easier. And the gravel areas between the pavilions will also be poured as slabs, which will allow them to utilize the space that's been left unused, with the exception of the occasional live music. Markets started back on April 1st and will run every Saturday, 8 to noon through October. Is there any other information, Mackenzie, you have regarding farmers market?
They are working on a solution for the big wooden spindles out front. They're having some issues with people driving to them, bumping them, and moving them. And so there is a remaining balance in their fund account that they use that will cover the cost of those concrete barriers, with the exception of like $400 that she was already able to raise from her vendors. And so,
Perfect.
yeah, so that should be going in.
Great. And then 4.2, our Main Street program. I don't see Brenda here either. Her report has been given and submitted, though.
Brenda's on vacation this week.
Okay. In summary, just says that they're picking up speed with the event planning. They have lots going on for the months of April and May. And Thursday, May 11th, looks like is the next upcoming meeting. Imagine the Possibilities Tour. It's a Texas Historical Commission sponsored event where businesses can be made aware of different opportunities that are available for businesses in Winnsboro. And then from 2 to 5 also that day is the Do I Have a Story to Tell Historical Picture Day. And they are requesting folks get together their historical photos, bring those to the depot for those to be copied, and then you to share your story regarding those historical events. Lots of other things that are going on downtown as well. And there's a complete calendar attached for those who would like to get online and see what all we have going for the rest of the year there as well. At this time, we will move into the public comment section of the meeting and hear from those who have signed in before this meeting was called to order, who would like to address.
Can I just make a comment on 4.2?
Yes.
I don't know if everybody was very fortunate to be able to attend the Bloom event for Winnsboro. It was absolutely outstanding. For the artists, the memorials, I can't even pronounce that word. I mean, the whole thing was just fun. I was very just pleased with the whole thing, and I'm nobody with the art thing. So I just wanted to express a thanks on everybody that was included with that event. It was a showcase. I mean, y'all did good. Y'all did really good. So thank y'all for bringing that to Winnsboro.
Thank you, Andrea, for passing along. Definitely, Winnsboro has it going on, and very, very excited to have seen a new, very successful event in downtown. Okay, the public comment section. We'll hear from those who have signed in before the meeting have come to order. You're welcome to speak on anything that you would like to address the board, but we are only able to talk about items that are on the agenda. And you will be limited to 3 minutes maximum to speak on all matters of concern. And at this time, I will ask Diane Burns to come before the board, and please state your name and address for all records there, and we'll give you 3 minutes to speak.
Just a couple of things. Diane Burns, 302 Richardson Street, owner of Promising Bakery. 2 things. One, I wanted the panel of the board to know that last year I presented and asked for, submitted an application, and for good reasons, was put on hold. Wanted you to know I'll be resubmitting an application, hopefully in time to discuss at the next meeting. I wanted to let you know, be looking for that. The other thing is, I've just submitted or mentioned to the council a concern about the parking around the bakery, and I was excited to see that that's on the agenda tonight. But I did want to add, as a interested party, that we not do anything just cover with asphalt or whatever. I've noticed they're out there. They graded it already, which is great, and I know that probably will help protect the city. So I just did want to encourage that we all work together in whatever way possible to make sure it's the best parking that we can have, not a temporary fix that we're going to have to come back and redo in 6 months.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who needs to sign up to speak? Okay. Moving on to item 7.1. 6.1. Sorry about that. Our consent items. Only consent item for the evening are our minutes from our prior meeting. If you have had an opportunity to review those, we'll entertain a motion to approve consent items.
I move that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted by Jim.
I'll second that motion.
I have a second by Marcia. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? If not, motion carries. Moving on to item 7, our presentation, discussion, and our action items for this meeting. We have 5 items to consider there. 3 are board applications. We currently have 5 of our seats filled of our maximum 7-member board, and have 3 applications to consider this evening for possible recommendation to the City Council for a seat on this board. We're not able to approve, but we are able to recommend to council for their final approval on this board as other boards within the city. So our first application to consider under item 7.1 is an application by Carl Sutherland. Would you like to come forward, Carl? Thank you for your interest in this board and serving on the WEDC. If you would, I guess just tell us a little elevator spiel about yourself, and mainly what is your interest in serving on this board and what you feel you bring to the table that maybe some of the other applicants do not.
Well, I'm not going to speak to that last question because they can speak for themselves. So, I'm Carl Sutherland. I live at 401 West Myrtle here in town. I've lived here in town a little over 2 years now. So, I have been coming to Winnsboro my whole life. It's been part of who I am. My grandmother lived on Peach Street in a beautiful home that's still there. Probably a 200-year-old post oak tree in the front yard. Beautiful. And now I live in the house that my dad owned here before. And so this is kind of a place that we were happy to come to. Lived most of my life in the Metroplex before that, but happy to come here. I think that the reason I'm interested in serving is because I think that we have some good things going on here in Winnsboro. I think that it has a vibe, it has a buzz. There's an entrepreneurial vigor that's going on here that you don't see in Quitman or any of the other towns I think that are around here. I think that we can continue to promote that. I also think that we can improve the quality of life for the people that live here by improving on the business opportunities that we have. If we have a family-friendly environment, it's a better place to live. It's a better town for the people that live here now, and it'll be a better town for folks in the future. I think that's the real issue. I think I have a pretty diverse business background that I put on my application, so I think that's it. Happy to entertain any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? You own some properties and investments in Winnsboro, and
The desktop printing, or a company I own,
okay.
owns the old desktop printing building on Main Street at 326 North Main.
Okay.
And we're in the process of renovating it. It's going to be part of the historical tour coming up on May the 11th. And we got some really cool interest from the Texas Historical Commission. They're going to work on some very interesting drawings and that kind of thing. So I hope everybody comes to see it because it's really cool what they had. They gave me a little taste of it. It's really cool. So
Is that a service they provide for local?
I think it was part of the. It's not a service that they provide. They select your building as part of the overall.
Well, congratulations.
Well, I mean, thank Brenda Buck because she. But the point is, they have to look at something that they think needs help, and that building definitely does. But I'm just happy with what they've come up with because it's very, very interesting. It'll look like a general restoration of the building back to probably 1910, 1920.
Oh, wow.
But with,
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
but with modern glass and that kind of thing. The exterior of the building needs good cleaning of the paint off the brick so the brick can survive its deteriorating, and that's a big issue. But the cool thing that I'm excited about is putting the transom windows back and the awnings on the front, and so that's kind of part
Okay.
of the idea.
Okay.
So it's going to be fun.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Board, would you like to act on each of these separately, or would we like to hear from all three applicants and then have a discussion regarding filling seats?
I think you're all three.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. We reserve the right to call you back if we have more questions. Okay, item 7.2, consider board application for Jody Jones. If you would, state your name and current address.
Hi, I'm Jody Jones. I formerly 300 East Carnegie Street, and hopefully as of tomorrow at 107 West Myrtle Street. I've been coming to Winnsboro for about 12 years and watched it go through some really tough times and some really great times, and I've always just loved it very much. So much to the point my business partner and I bought 300 East Carnegie Street, which is a lovely home built in 1901, and we renovated it and to operate it as a vacation rental by owner here in town, so that when people came, they had a fun and beautiful place to stay and enjoy our shops and our art center. Because there really is some challenges with having some place to stay when your family, friends come to visit you in Winnsboro. So we want to really support that. Loved it so much that our second property we bought at 107 West Myrtle, dearly in need of some TLC also, has been renovated, and I'll be moving into that I've got 25 years working with municipal government and nonprofits, and I really enjoy immersing myself in the communities that I live in and work in and play in. And I'd like to do more of that here in Winnsboro. Enjoy being a part of the Art Center, the animal welfare world, in the communities, and as well as networking with all the local professionals. I think the business development is just really important to provide a foundation for our residents to live, work, and play in also. And I want to see our businesses be successful so that they can stay in business and provide employment opportunities for our youth and our seniors too.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't.
Give y'all a moment to look over her application and resume. In addition to the 2 projects that you currently have in the Winnsboro landscape, or is there anything else that you can share that y'all are currently? Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. And 7.3, consider board application for Gary Gravely. And I don't see Gary here tonight. Have we heard from him, Mackenzie, to know should we be expecting? Okay. And looking over his application, does any of the board have any comments or? In discussing the 3 applications that are available, anybody have any comments?
If I could, I think we have 3 really strong citizens that's interested. Trying to pick 2 out of 3, I think is going to be a tough choice, to be honest. I don't know. Honestly, I'd probably like to have a little more time just to be able to speak also with Mr. Gravely also. And I'm sure he was aware he probably needed to be here tonight, but all 3 seem to be very good. That's why it's hard to pick 2 out of the 3. Just right here, I have been fortunate to know, I think, all 3 of the applications here. The applicants, I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think.
Anybody else have thoughts? I agree. It's exciting. We've had empty seats for a while now. And then very fortunate to have 3 qualified applicants that are interested in serving at this time.
And all 3 have a very good background. I mean, that's why it's hard to pick one over the other. It's just not just oh, this one's got it better going on than this one. It's kind of, y'all made it tough on us to me. So, I don't know. Y'all tell me.
Are we able to go into closed session to discuss each one, or can we? No. Okay.
No, this is.
I don't know any of the 3, and I think the 2 that showed up should get the first opportunity. The one who didn't show up, I would say he's disqualified. I agree with that.
don't know why Mr. Gravely wasn't able to come.
I do not.
Okay.
Do we need to take action on each one individually if we do that?
I would assume that we can make one motion to include whatever our decision is, or do we need to go back and do each one individually?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions anybody has regarding the two open seats? We'll just remind y'all, look at qualifications, look at our current makeup of the board, what industries, what businesses, what areas of expertise are represented, and then where we may need to fill in
I do have a question.
in
I do have a
that
question.
area.
And I'd like each one of y'all, if y'all could, if y'all don't mind coming up here and answering. Just, I hate for y'all to yell it from your seats. And this is just a question, it's just a general kind of a question, I guess. When we talk about the city of Winnsboro, we have the city of Winnsboro as a whole. And for some reason, we not that it's not important, because it's very important, the Main Street area, but then we also have this side of the tracks. So, how do y'all feel about the Winnsboro as a whole, not just certain areas? That's always a concern I have, that people think of just one area of Winnsboro and not the whole city.
So kind of favoring Main Street seems to
Right.
have gotten a lot more of the attention over the last few years than the rest of the city. So
And I see the need for Main Street is really, it's a good deal, I get it. But we also have the whole city, so that's why I'm just curious.
I'll start. I'll say what I think and what I believe is I think that Main Street was in dire need of love for a long
Oh, yes.
time. And I think that towns that don't have a mission to have a good Main Street, that doesn't mean that you spend yourself into oblivion to go restore it. It just means that you have a mission over time to improve it. And I think that that is a core feature of every city. I think the rest of it is going to follow as part of it, as kind of part of the vibe. I think what my dear friend here is doing is she's done two houses that were not in good shape before. And I think that's an example of kind of what's happening out there. There are a lot of people that are doing a lot of things. Try and find a plumber, try and find an electrician, try and find a carpenter. It's all good, but it's going on. It just takes time to kind of restore this. Should there be focus on the other? Of course. I think that we can do both.
And I think the current council and the Economic Development Committee have started to steer us in that direction. Keeping the buzz on Main Street keeps people coming in and spending money here and creating a tax base for us. But once that buzz is created and it becomes a vibrant downtown area, that starts to spread, and it starts to spread out. We've got some new excellent businesses off of Main Street now, and those businesses are creating a buzz. And so there is hopefully going to be a continued positive crawl out to our community, not just our Main Street area.
Positive crawl.
Yeah, I do too. I like that too.
So I think that's really, important. But the other thing also too is building that sense of community and networking and connecting people and businesses and neighbors with one another. All of the community work that I've done has just been really about connecting people. And it's listening to each other, hearing what's important to each other, because what I think is right doesn't mean Carl's going to agree with me. But there's got to be something we can agree on and move forward with that's going to support the community better. So it's aligning interests and building the community stronger. I think that will work it out.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Mackenzie is our current acting acting Economic Development Corporation Executive Director. Do you have some comments or? Exactly. In addition to city administrator and however many other hats we've got going on right now. Are there any comments or things you would like to make?
So one of the things that's interested me even just upon employment here with the city was the need for diversity. And Jan and I had also been discussing prior to tonight's meeting, creating some diversity and some different representation within the board to represent different types of businesses, different types of industries within our community. And one thing that we've been missing on our board is retail or restaurant. And so Jane and I had talked through, and I just wanted to kind of put this out there for you all to consider too, the possibility of maybe just making one appointment tonight and potentially recruiting specifically for maybe you guys have other ideas. It's not retail, that's not restaurant, but maybe being a little bit more intentional about looking specifically for some of some diversity within the board. And so those are just some conversations that Jane and I had that I wanted to kind of share with you guys also and allow you guys an opportunity to discuss that amongst yourselves.
I know it's hard I'm a business owner. I'm downtown, and I feel like I have a good pulse of what's going on around Winnsboro, just due to different organizations and things that I am in. But I'm not sitting with the challenges on a day-to-day basis of what our restaurateurs are looking for, what our retail establishments are looking for, and how this board can help maybe fill in some of the gaps that are in those industries, because we're not living it every day. And so it's just kind of something to think about as well, as do we need representation from that industry on the board so that we can get a feel for their needs and what would help them thrive, and maybe round out some of the offerings that Winnsboro has with some of our support for those industries as well.
I like that idea, get a little more broad range representation.
Do we want to make a decision tonight on the 3 applicants that are in front of us and make one recommendation or 2 recommendations to City Council for their May consideration?
Y'all wanting to totally think about it more on what's been presented already?
I think so. I think we should think about this and go over their applicants a little bit more and hopefully bring that back up in our next month's meeting in May.
Okay. I think according to parliamentary procedure, if we don't have a motion and a second to act on these, it will automatically be tabled for our next meeting. Correct?
It would die due to lack of motion, but if you actually want to postpone to the next meeting, I need a motion to postpone.
I make a motion to postpone the applicants.
Okay. We have a motion to give the, okay, and have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? If not, the motion carries. I hate to ask y'all to come back to the next board meeting, but if you would, in case there's some other questions, I'd also encourage you maybe to reach out to the board members and visit with them some so that they can get to know you and your interest, so that they could make an informed decision at next month's meeting. Okay, next item for business, item 7.4, discussion for possible parking lot project. And I'm not sure who is going. Mackenzie, is that you? Okay.
So the
Could we get you to come and use the, I'm sorry.
No, I've been sitting too long. So as Ms. Burns stated, we've had some concern with the parking lot on 11 and Walnut. This was a part of the original bond project, had a pretty hefty price tag, about $350,000. I have no doubt that would have been done beautifully. That is not what I'm suggesting or recommending to the board to consider. But we do need some sort of solution, and I do agree with Ms. Burns that it should be a more permanent solution. I believe a piece of doing this project is going to be regrading. If you look at the project or the approach on Highway 11, it's pretty steep. So if we are going to do this, we need to be confining ourselves with IBC and handicap requirements. So we have handicap parking in there, and we would need to grade that down to a level where someone could comfortably facilitate a wheelchair going down the embankment. So a part of that's going to need to be somebody coming on board that understands grading. We've kind of been looking at the drainage currently. Where does it currently go? Where are storm drains? What's the flow? Things like that. We have one estimate currently. We're hoping to get several more. We're getting both asphalt and concrete estimates. The first one is right around $56,000. That is for asphalt and did not include the grading and demo. My understanding is that on the west side of the parking lot area, there's an existing brick wall that's buried 6 feet down in the ground, so that's going to have to come up. So there's going to be a little bit of demo cost involved in that, and then filling it back in. I have a verbal bid for concrete that's around 66. If that's the case, I say we may need to call a special meeting and get that approved pretty quickly. I don't have that in writing yet, though. My guess is probably going to be less than 100. I think 100,000 would be really high. But I just kind of wanted to put this on y'all's radar, get your feedback. Is there anything that y'all want to see? Is this a definite no from you guys? Kind of what your expectations are, so I can be sure to communicate that in the process of collecting bids.
Okay. How many square feet are we talking, and how many parking places are we talking?
Parking places, do you remember, was it about 16? I think it was about 16 parking spaces. Do we have that image, the image of it? Probably not. I think it's about 16. I do think that can really work. I was going off of someone else's drawings when they were originally planning this project. There's a lot of green space in the original project that I think if we look at it, reconsider, can be made into parking spaces.
I have a question. I personally don't think we should asphalt it. I think that's just asking for more trouble down the road. I think if we're going to do it, we ought to cement it. That's just my own personal opinion. I just don't think the asphalt, because it being sand, I think there's sand there, and I just think with the sand and everything, the asphalt just would not last. So I'd hate to do it with asphalt at a cost of $50 and then have to turn around 2 years later or a year later and have to do it with cement anyway. The only other thing I think we do need to also consider is putting lights. I think it needs to be a lighted parking area.
I think so as well. I think, primarily during the day, I think it's going to be used probably by the medical facility, Promised Land Bakery, and La Conchita. On the weekends and after hours also, I think you're going to get some more of that downtown WCA event, depot, overflow, and things like that. So I think it really will be a multi-purpose parking area.
Are you speaking of that complete dirt area around there? Okay.
Yeah, so it would go all the way. So when you come in on 11, and then it makes that corner behind Promised Land, and it'll come out on Walnut. It'll
Okay.
probably be two-way.
Is there someone who can check flooding as well? I mean, anytime you go from dirt and that type of drainage to a flat concrete surface, totally different rain off. I would sure
And the grade.
hate for, after all of the work that has been done on the buildings there, to create a drainage issue.
Which is going to be imperative in this situation, more especially if we have to go in and dig out a bunch to fix the slope in the front on 11. I'm not entirely sure what that's going to look like, but that is a part of the bid process to ask those questions and make sure that we're gauging the people's experience in grade and water flow and drainage.
Okay. Is the city prepared to take on this project if the WDC doesn't, or to partner with the WDC, or are y'all looking solely to us for funding?
At this point, we'd be solely looking to the WEDC for funding until such time that the city completes their audits. We
Okay.
are not in a position to contribute.
speaking as well, we don't have financials for WEDC. So I personally would not want us to stick our neck out as well for that large of a commitment without knowing where we are financially and what funds we have available in this year's budget remaining. I know we have committed our future projects for the grant match, which we had in the budget, and I don't know how much of that is remaining or what other projects we might
The
have.
WEDC budget is a lot more simple than the city finances. The city finances, we're dealing with a lot of pooled cash and a lot of different separate restricted funds. EDC is one pool, so it's much easier for me. So the answer to your question, in the special projects line, there's $26,000 left in this fiscal year budget for any special projects, which
I
includes.
thought we only had about 98, and we
No,
gave
it was
out
over
92
100.
of that.
It was over 100 in that line item. And then also, because of the healthy fund balance that the WEDC has, we could always do a budget amendment for that. Or if you guys are more comfortable, we could say, yes, we're on board, but we'd like to wait until next budget year so we can put that in. Obviously, that's going to impact the bids. It could be more or less if we choose to wait. But as far as the financial position of the WEDC, I believe that they are in a healthy position based on what I'm able to see on my end.
Okay.
I'd be happy to give you guys projections every time we meet, if that's something that you want to see, as long as you don't hold my feet to the fire, because until they're audited, I can't guarantee that. But you all, the WEDCs, are going to be much closer when I do a projection than the full cash funds.
Okay. I would like to see that. Personally, I think we can't answer until we know more of the specifics. You know, what are the hard costs? What are we looking, are we talking 56? Are we talking 100? Kind of where we are, but personally, I think it is, parking downtown is needed. As events continue to grow in downtown, more parking is needed for those as well. So if we're the source to be able to make that happen, I think it needs to be explored at a minimum.
Anything else the board would like for me to take into consideration when going out to bid this project?
I would personally like to see us get as many local bids as we could and keep those dollars here locally, supporting local businesses, if everything else is the same.
And I do think lighting needs to be
Okay.
a part. We've got to have lighting. I mean, I just think.
Any deal breakers over asphalt, concrete, any preferences? I know Andrew's expressed hers.
Warranties?
Yeah, we can do maintenance warranties for sure. We can make that a part of the process.
Is there just a ballpark idea of what the lighting would cost?
I don't know. I know that the original bid was for some really nice, intricate, ornate lighting. My mind, just because of cost savings, went to some sort of city-paid-for utility lighting through SWEPCO, which is very affordable. We have several of those all over town already.
I don't know that the parking lot needs to be a showplace for
It doesn't. Just
beautiful
so-
lighting,
right.
just something functional.
And safety, something to
Right.
protect the safety of those walking back and forth at night.
Are there,
I would be, excuse me, go ahead.
are there any other properties that the city owns that could potentially be used for parking as well, or is this the only place
Not in
for
that area.
parking
Not
at
in
this
that-
time?
Not city-owned in that area.
I personally think asphalt would almost be a deal breaker for me. I mean, I really think we should go concrete. I mean,
We can have them bid both, and then I can just present all the bids that we received to you guys, and we can go from there. Anything else? Tim, did you have something? No? Is that it? Thank you.
Thank you.
that's kind of been a eyesore for a little bit in downtown, so maybe that'll help it out a little. We can only hope. A little bit.
Our next item for business is 7.5, consider a request by Wood County Walls. And Todd Witt is here to represent that project. So thank you for coming, and we are excited to hear about this project and all that's going on throughout the county.
First off, I'm not here to sell you anything.
Woo, no.
If you decide you want to get involved, that's great. There's already been recent things happening because of the folks that you have over in your Winnsboro Center of the Arts. I'm just a school teacher that saw something really cool. I was on a trip in Miami and thought, hey, that would be good for us back in, at that point, Mineola, and I realized, no, this is bigger than Mineola. It's going to be one of those things where the whole county's got to work together to make this happen. So let me kind of get going on this thing. It does have to do with the art. It's called Wood County Walls. You can see the map up there. The blue line is kind of this trail that we're talking about creating. It's primary murals, but it also involves other public art, like your tractor, the bedazzled tractor, as I call it, which is awesome. The idea behind the tagline, Explore, Interact, Linger. The Explore is if we get people into the county, we want to push them out to every community, whether the festival is here or in Mineola or Bass Fishermen. How do we get them to move throughout the county? And so that's what the Explore. The Interact has to do with the title art. We want art that's basically selfies. We want people to get out of their car. We don't want them to drive by and go, oh, look at that. We want them to get out and interact with it. The linger means we want them to walk around and go in our shops and things like that. And to address the question about, or where it was asked about, what about the other parts of Winnsboro? This is the kind of concept where people are on a trail around the county and in the community. So depending on where you put the art, is they're going to go there to be a part of the art. So if even we're talking about pushing people around the county, you can use it here to push people throughout Winnsboro. Does that make sense? So let me kind of go into this for you. Let me first say, we're here to talk about economic development. That doesn't mean I discount the idea that arts are important regardless. You guys are amazing what you've done here in Winnsboro. The Bloom event was great. And the reason you liked it so much, it made you feel good. When you would walk around here and saw all the art that was there, the self-image, it just made you feel good. And art in itself, that's top of Maslow. That is self-actualization. It makes you feel good. And if you do the right art here in town, it's going to make people feel good, and you should do it. It says something about your community. But this is about economic development. I know who the audience is, so you have to understand that. So this talk is an economic development talk. There is a new economy out there. It's the selfie economy. I mean, there's selfies everywhere. In doing that, it's actually the research analysis you recognize the seed funding for this came from the Wood County Economic Development Commission. That's who put the seed money up into doing that. Really not a new thing. I saw it for the first time 15 years ago in Raleigh.
Dollars of seed money did they?
You said they put up the seed money.
They put 20,000. It was 1,500 last year to do the unity meal over in Mineola, and we'll talk about this. So they got 20,000. I'm going to show you. We've already there's about 100,000 already going into the commission. What's going on? Okay, so we'll get to that. 15 years ago, I was taking a trip out to Grand Canyon with my kids. We spent the evening night in Roswell, New Mexico, and we went to this old Gibson's building that they turned into this place where you do alien selfies. Now, selfies weren't a thing there. The phone was there, but they had their camera. And they had all these vignettes where you go and take pictures. And that's the first time I've seen it. Now what we have is you can go to Dallas, Houston, all the big cities, and they have these selfie museums or studios where they have big buildings, and they have vignettes everywhere where you go and you take pictures. There's an economy. People pay to go in there and do this kind of stuff because it's a whole economy now. Spring break after COVID, we took a trip, my wife and I, down to Key West, and I was looking at coming back. Where do I spend the night one night and then drive the rest away? What can I do for the morning? And I found a place called Winwood Walls. And it's a warehouse district right in the middle of Miami called Winwood. And they got warehouse districts are great because they got lots of walls and doors and windows. And the artist has just kind of taken it over and painted murals everywhere. And then somebody gone in and developed this courtyard, and there's a gift shop in there, called it Winwood Walls, so it showed up on TripAdvisor of the place. And so that's where I went and took my wife, and we booked a tour. And on the tour, there was a lady on a golf cart, and she took us all around. Because, you see where the plaza is, but if you look back, there's murals all the way back here.
Oh,
There's some that are 10 stories tall. It's just everywhere in the whole area. So, and they also have a festival where they bring in artists from all over the world for a week. They'll paint every one of those walls in that area, just that one festival area, completely white, and then the artist will come in and repaint them so the canvas rotates. And plus it's a festival and what's going on. So just because I went and saw Winwood Wall several years ago, a lot of it's different now, so it changes. And so we were riding around the golf cart and talking to ladies. She was a muralist. Her husband was the famous muralist of the city. And they always wanted to come to Texas. We thought, well, maybe we can get a mural. So we came back, and I said, we'll go back and talk to Mercy Rushing over in Mineola, see if we can get a little money to let them come do a mural and see if we get something in town. Then we left her and we went to lunch. And I'm sitting there in the middle of the warehouse district, out on a little patio, and I'm noticing there's people everywhere. There's bridal parties coming through. They're just everywhere. And there's lines in front of these murals taking pictures. That's when I realized there's an economy behind this. What if it was more than just one mural when we came back and did that for Mineola? I thought, there's not enough walls in Mineola to do it. It needs to be bigger than that in order to hold them. Before I go any further, just so you'll know the impact the economy has. Out of 377 things to do in Miami, we're talking Miami, there's a lot to do in Miami. Number 8 is Winwood Wall. Wow. That's pretty high. To do that. And if you just look at attractions, it's the second highest rated attraction in Miami.
really?
It beats out the zoo. Have you been to Miami Zoo? I think it's awesome. Okay? I show you this because there really is an economy if it's done correctly in what's going on. Now, the art is amazing. You got to have the right muralist to do it. So I put some slides together to kind of show you some of the murals. Some of them are great big walls. They're large format. They can do different themes of what you're talking about doing. Some of the murals have mini murals in them. It's one big wall. That's kind of the way the Unity mural is over in Mineola. It's one big mural, but there's actually 4 different individual spots that you can picture. There's 5 murals in one. You have giant selfie murals like that. You have smaller walls that can get done. That's a wall that's more the size of what we have here. They'll do plazas. The theme might be somebody famous. The muralist that's coming to Winnsboro, the festival painted the Bruce Bader Ginsburg up in the wall. That's Louise coming. It could be 3D integrated mural where they just, you see you've got the bush coming up or the top kind of coming out of the guy's head. This one, this is in Bentonville, Arkansas. It's got these motorcycle wheels actually stick out from the mural and things like that. You talk about other public art. That cat that's on top of the airplane is made out of all thrown-away plastic. So there's that. Created canvas, those are storage containers that they painted on. They're doing that kind of stuff. That is just an open storage, they painted on the door of the storage building. These are just different ways, see the concrete towers, just different places that they painted. But the important ones, the ones that are like all the moneymakers, are the selfie murals. You need some big ones, okay? Those are your anchors for them all. You need some big ones. But when we talk about getting interactive, we need stuff that's smaller that get people out of their car and they're physically interacting with the art. Okay? Smaller stuff, like is action-based. We all know about wings, but there's various types of wings you can do as you go through. There are text-focused ones that are real simple. They're just text to convey a message of what's going on. Some more text ones. Sometimes it's just a painted texture. Just a wall that's got a picture that looks good. We know this time very well. All you got to do is anytime it's wedding time or prom time or anything like that, you will see these pictures, right? Everybody wants to take them to Dallas. What they need to know is where is this stuff? If they're coming from Dallas, where are places like that in Winnsboro, video and everything? So a lot of this is just about collecting those and putting them in one place. Sometimes it has to do with letters that are 3D like that. Sometimes they're interactive. You go to Nashville, they got these big guitars. There's your tractor right there. These are horses. They're in Kentucky. They also do them in Amarillo. Those are guitars. Also the interactive, we all know about Cadillac Ranch, right? In in Amarillo, which is set up where people can actually get out and participate in the art. And those things change. As soon as you paint it, take your picture, somebody's painting right behind you. And what's going on. And that they get to interact in what's going on. So, that's basically the types of arts. It's the type of things we're talking about out there. Obviously, you want the art to be community appropriate. What's going on, you want to fit. So, this grant came to an organization called Winnsboro Coalition. This is Winnsboro. It's in Mineola. It was started when my son came back from college from COVID. When they shut down, and he looked at a lot of friends he graduated with, and there wasn't a lot going on for them. A lot of the kids he knew, one was dead, several were going to prison, things like that. He says there's not enough to do here, so we got to developing skate parks. We're building a skate park in Mineola. We're also, the city gives us a building called Art House, where kids can come and create. So we had the 501c3 created. In the Unity Wall, there were 65 kids and 35 adults that were on that wall. But the idea behind Flint and Steel was to align and leverage limited resources that we have in our community. So the whole concept is how do we work together and take a little and make a lot out of it. So that's who is holding the money from the county. That's who they gave the grant from. Okay?
Is it a 501c3?
It's a 501c3, yes, ma'am. Quick story on that is we had come back with the idea, or I kicked around the idea of somewhere time doing Wood County walls. I got a phone call from Amanda Duncan, y'all may know her, and Debbie Rhodes, and said, hey, we hear y'all have an idea about doing some murals. We're wanting to write a grant to the Wood County EDC to do a Unity wall where kids collaborate on the word Unity and they work with an artist and paint it. Could we run that through y'all? I said, yeah. And they said, good. Can you meet us tomorrow afternoon at the Wood County Airport to present the grant? Like, okay. We'll see you there. But we got there, it's an EDC meeting, and even though that's a great project, kids working together, it's not an economic project until we laid out Wood County walls and how it all ties in. So the Unity mural was the first one. The EDC saw it, they saw the quality of what we were doing, and they said, all right, how do we take this idea, come back with a proposal? And that's what I came back with. Basically, there were 5 things. It says, can we coordinate efforts between communities, Wood County, support an integrated art trail? All right, so how do we create the trail? How do we do what I'm doing right now? Can we work together? The other is, can we expand the inventory of murals and other public art? So how do we get more? Our inventory is not where it needs to be right now. It's just not there. We don't want people coming right now to see Wood County walls because it's underwhelming at the moment. Maintain a web guide. So we need somewhere, if somebody's coming, they need to be able to get on their phone and find out where all the arts is and where the restaurants are and where the retail stores are when they go in there, because the whole point of this is to drive the economy and what's going on. We need to establish a visitor center. Remember the Wood County walls or the courtyard? We need that place that we can stick on TripAdvisor so it'll show up, because all these towns won't show up on TripAdvisor, but something like that would. And then to organize an annual muralist festival to kind of be that thing that draws and changes our inventory. So that was the charge that we put forward. And so that's where the map came through. That's that first one. So there is the integrated trail of what's going on. We have created a artist guild to expand the murals. Your new Bloom mural over here is the great example. These guys were awesome back here and in what they were doing. And so Dennis even did the guitar one after he learned. He did that mural over there, and the Unity mural came back. So we've got to get it to where we have local artists that are doing it, some paid, some volunteer. We needed public access. If you want to go to woodcountywalls.org, the website exists today now. It's in whatever you want to call it. It's a cold open. It's not meant for the general public, but it is meant for you to go and see. And that is what we're working on.
That's what I'm looking at now. I'm not playing
Okay,
on my
you're
phone.
fine,
I'm
you're
going to
fine.
look at the wall stuff.
So right now, you can go in and put the city in. You can say, what do you want to find? It's going to come up there. You can click on it. It's going to give you directions. Hey, we're hungry. We're in Winnsboro. Where do we eat? It opens up. And you go there. What kind of shops? If somebody is in Dallas trying to figure out where to go. You know, when I was working with a guy who's a volunteer that was building this, he was like, he was working on Mineola. He says, we got too many restaurants in Mineola. Let's don't put them all there. It looks busy. And I went, I see the total opposite. I see that as advantageous if I'm in Dallas planning a trip. What is there to do? The more we can show, the better. Because it shows that I can go spend a weekend or more there, and there's plenty to do. And it's even bigger when they can see the whole county, what's going on. We do have a Facebook page where the guild can talk to each other. I mentioned Art House. The city has given us this complex right back here. That Unity mural's there. They're about to put a parking lot here. To give you a reference, the train depot in Mineola is right here. So that's 69 going right there. So we will have a place that we can start with that can say this is visitor center. It doesn't mean every town can have a visitor center, but at least we can start with one. We are going to have a murals festival, and that will be the week of September 16th to the 23rd. And during that week on the 16th, the muralists will come in, and I'll show you who they are in a minute. They will come in, and we will meet in the theater in Mineola. Each community will be there, talk about the muralists, show their art, and then each city will reveal their design, kind of kick it all off. And then for that week, the muralists will be painting the town. There'll be one here in Winnsboro. Okay, there'll be one in Quitman. There'll be one in every town, because every town is doing that. And then at the end of the week, we will have a dedication in each town for the festival. This time we're ending the festival on the same weekend as Mineola's Iron Horse Festival, because we will have a booth there telling everybody, hey, there's a dedication in Winnsboro at this time. We couldn't go look at these murals. So the idea behind this long term is it doesn't matter which community has a festival, we're promoting every town at the same time. Because most of us don't have a festival that can hold everybody the whole day. And so how do we push them around and do that kind of stuff? So there will be that. Now, as for the muralist, just to show you the quality of what we're doing here. So we have some great artists in Wood County that are doing some great work. We want to develop them as well. We want to bring them around artists. When they were painting the bloom over there, the first thing I said when I walked up was, we're channeling our inner Luis. So Luis is the guy who's coming, and he's very well known. One of his things is his dripping paint. It drips down like that. That's one of his things that he does. So these are the ones. This is who's coming. This is the quality of the guy who's coming to Winnsboro. I believe they're going to paint the wall down here on the center. Is that where you're thinking? Okay. Somewhere. This is Luis's style. That's Sarah. She's sweet. She'll be coming with us. He's really big with these dots, and he's really big with the drips, is the things he likes to do. But this is kind of the kind of stuff that he can do. Isn't that amazing? Kind of stuff. These are high quality, amazing artists. Now again, he's painting a lot in Miami, so they're very bright colors, but he will take one color palette he wants and do that kind of stuff. He's an international artist. I forgot where he was at. He also does work for Walmart. Walmart's is commissioning all over the country, and he's been doing murals, started doing murals for them. This is a restaurant he did. He also takes his art and puts it on stuff like that. He does a clothing line. So this is a very accomplished artist that's coming. Claudio Picasso, we're going to get a Picasso in Mineola. This is his style. By the way, these guys are all spray paint artists. They're fast. They can get it done in a week. This is kind of the stuff that he does. This is one of the most iconic murals in Miami. It's on a record store in Miami. This is kind of the quality of what he does. Now, we're going to tap into him because of what he does with superhero characters. We're going to do in Mineola a drive-through mural. We're going to do one for the kids. So the drive-through of the Mineola, it's going to be like comic book panels that go through there, and he's going to do that. We're hoping to get access to the building on the right so that you're totally immersed in that. So that's Claudio. So there's the drive-through. Kevin will be in Quitman. This is kind of some of the stuff that Kevin can do. Look at that.
I like that.
Isn't that crazy? Look at that. These people are the real deal. And what we're talking about bringing in. Anthony will be over in Hawkins. Hawkins is going to incorporate a fire truck into what they do. Anthony is really good about patterns. We're going to put that style in over there with what he does. But there's the fire truck that Hawkins has. Although we're kicking around the idea of getting one of our collision shops to paint that up with Wood County walls, and then we use that fire truck to promote it. So wherever there's a festival, we bring that truck. And stuff like that to promote everybody, not just with Patrick McGregor will be in Alba. He usually paints with his son. He's also going to come to Quitman. Quitman is going to contract him to do a second mural because he really likes bulldogs.
Oh.
So they're going to do this really cool bulldog in Quitman. They don't know what it is yet. But this is kind of the stuff that he does. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? This is a great thing they're doing this with. Ivan will be in Yantis. Yantis doesn't have a lot of walls. So we are going to be innovative in Yantis. Remember, you may know this, I used to work at the Texas Freshwater Fishery Center. I was the education director. We're going to do a roadside interpretive center. There's a lady over there that's on their board that has a nonprofit is Prairie Land Restoration and Pollinators that she's promoting, protecting pollinators. And so she's got 2 buildings, and we're going to go across the buildings and create sort of an education center where you stop and get pictures, but it also teaches you about pollinators and stuff like that. So part of it is out on our roads between our towns, how do we create things in between. This is another one that just kind of, she's the girlfriend of Picasso, and she wasn't going to be available, but now she's become available, so she's coming. So we're going to have her do a second wall in Mineola, but this is the quality of the stuff she does. So those are the kind of people we're talking about bringing in to interact with our communities and interact with our artists, because we also have built the guild. So we're building the guild, which is artists in all the communities that work together in the communities, but they go to each community, and the Bloom wall, the Bloom wall was a good example of, we put the call out, hey, we're going to paint a wall, and people showed up from other communities to help get that wall and push it way down the road until these guys could finish it up. This is the picture of, these other pictures are the Unity mural, and we, like I said, we had 65 kids and 35 adults that worked on that wall. So along with the professional artists, we say, just come and do your masterpiece. Bring them in and help our artists learn from you. We also are going to have our own muralists here that we can use. Some people can hire them, some are volunteer projects like Bloom, so we keep building our inventory and keep our inventory going. This is one that we're just getting ready to unveil. It should be finished this week. And we're trying to create some trails within the trails, because the whole goal of this thing is to push people all over the county. So how do we do that? So we're going to encourage every community to have some sort of wings. Everybody likes to take pictures in front of wings. And everybody to have some sort, at least one representation of the word Texas without the X, because you stand in it and you make the X. It's a selfie thing, right? So that one is going up on a new place called the Hangout. It's right across from Lake Hawkins State Park, or not, our RV park. And it's a rental place. They're just now putting together. And so they're about finished. That's the computer-generated model, but it looks better than that that's on there. But that's the idea, because people are going to want to come and collect the wings. They're going to want to collect the Texas things. And those are the things that are identifiable selfie-wise. So as you can see in this, the art is meant to be communicated through a phone, and where you go from there. Here's our Facebook page, kind of demographics so far. Of what's on, just on the Facebook page. Again, we haven't gone real live with the public. You just kind of see the interest groups that they're involved with that as we go through. This slide kind of tells you, you guys might be interested in this, this is what's going on in developing the murals. So this doesn't have anything to do with murals like the ones you already have. These are new murals that are going up since this project. The green ones are the completed ones. The Unity mural is complete. They just completed the one I just showed you. They just redid the Hawkins mural. The red ones are the designs complete, and they're getting ready to be painted. For example, Friday, Luis will be back in town. He's going to paint a giant mural. Y'all probably saw it in the Wood County Monitor on the imprints building. So it's all about Casey Musgrave's family and all that kind of stuff. The yellow ones are the ones that are currently being designed. There's a mural going there, and they're in the design process. The purple ones is that's a project that's committed, they're ready to do it, we haven't got a design going yet. And then the blue ones are projects that have been requested. So you get an idea of the energy that's going in right now. When I was sitting here a while ago trying to get this to where it would show up here, I get a phone call of another artist that wants to come and do something. So that's the inventory. So I thought it was going to take us 3 or 4 years to get the inventory. We can really begin pushing this to people. I think we're going to be able to push it after October. We're going to have plenty of inventory if we can get some more that's coming there. Just to let you see some of the funds that have been committed so far. These are EDC funds, these are private funds. When I say in kind, this is a partnership with the community. There's a muralist fee, but then we ask the cities to find somebody to house them, get your restaurants to feed them, because a lot of this, we're getting murals cheap. We're getting these artists here for $5,000. The Unity mural would cost you $25,000 any day of the week. Okay? Luis and his wife were so enamored with the hospitality they got from us in Mineola, they went and told their friends about it. It was network. And they're enamored with the project. So you're getting these people in here for an artist fee of only $5,000, which is cheap for what they do. But we're making sure they pocket that. So we're paying for their airfare if they're flying, we're housing them, we're doing that kind of stuff. So that's what's going on over there. But as you can see, we've taken the money that was put in from the Wood County, and it's already been leveraged almost from over $100,000 right now. It's being invested in an asset that's going to bring businesses to Winnsboro, and equipment, and to everybody else, and what's going on. So there's the project. That's what's happening. The question is, and the reason I asked that we come and talk to you guys, because you've already got a mural funded here. Okay, you got one painted, you got one funded. We're getting ready to pull a photo op together over the Unity mural and bring all the different people together. We've got every EDC involved in the county, except this one. Okay, no problem with that. At a minimum, I would like to see y'all endorse it. What's going on? It's important, so you're there as part of the picture. But I also think I'm going to be like my kids now, telling me how to spend my money. Okay. I think you might consider putting a little bit of money towards this, because what some of the other communities are doing, when these artists are already going to be here, and the other communities already paid their travel, they're getting the artists that all agree they'll extend, and you get a second mural out of it. You can do that. The other thing I'm going to be pitching, I just thought of it the other night, an idea. I'm calling it for now the Wood County Wall Brush Off. It's kind of like these reality, kind of like the Bake Off shows and all that kind of stuff, where they're doing that kind of stuff. But if we can put some money towards a competition, this would be for the guild, and basically say, we want some selfie murals, because these guys are going to come in and pay for it, right? But the money is in those little ones. And so if we came in and said, let's say, if you guys put the money up for that and told all the guild members, hey, we're going to have this competition, we want small selfie walls, you got a painting a week, and here's we want them to be funny, or we want them inspiring. We can have a novice category, a professional category, we have a student category. What happens is, for that amount of money, you quickly populate the community with the small selfie murals, which are really the ones that help people get them to stop and get them out of the car. So, that was a lot. That's me. What questions do you have?
What's your exact ask from the WEDC?
I think you should bring in another muralist. So I think you should put $5,000 up for that. Mm-hmm. And I think you should fund this thing. And so the rules of engagement for the contest would be, it happens in Winnsboro if y'all put the money up. And I think you should put another $5,000 in there for that. And basically that would be prize money that would be going towards the competition, and get that kind of stuff going. That's my recommendation. I don't really know that I'm asking as much as I'm saying. You might consider this, is what's going on. You're fortunate enough to have the Artist in Residence program over at the Art Center that's paying for Luis to be here. But just like in Quitman, they got a foundation that's putting up $6,000, and then Quitman is putting up another $10,000 on top of that. So there's already a model for a public-private partnership. Same thing's happening in Mineola. They're putting up $15,000. We've got other people in the community that are putting up another 10 and doing that. So I think you should consider 10 if it's within your budget and that kind of stuff. If not, 5. At a minimum, endorse it. So that when we take the photo, it's, hey, we're all behind this. This is a countywide economic development project as we go forward. Any questions?
Are you aware of any walls that are currently available in seeking a mural in Winnsboro? Has any businesses or anybody that has? Okay.
So we have
Could
the,
somebody address that maybe and give us some examples, Chris, of who's looking? If you
by the
would,
way, we.
take the podium and
We
we'll need
have
your name and
a,
address
this is
for the record.
the chapter, the Winnsboro chapter of the Guild, and what's going on, and there's the guys.
You need
coming.
my address?
Yes, we need name and address for the minutes.
Okay. Christopher Brown, and my address is 655 County Road, or Country Road, 4845, out at Lake Winnsboro.
Okay.
First of all, what you spoke of about Bloom. The Bloom mural surfaced at the right time because he came and spoke to us. And when I created Bloom, I had no idea how it would turn out or what would come of that. But the Bloom mural happened to surface at the same time. What happened is when I invited all of the businesses downtown to be part of Bloom in this competition of decorating their windows, I thought 10, 15 would do it. We had 29, originally 33. Some backed out because the competition got too stiff. But then what happened is the whole town came together. So if you go out to see the Bloom mural, the hashtag is Together with Bloom, which is huge how this town came together. So in the process, we have a committee, and we've also started researching and asking around. Jim Willis has more of the idea of what businesses that Janice and Claire out of Francis has the one big wall on the side of her building. Maria's Restaurant is interested too. They have walls. There are a ton of people who are interested. So also in creating the Bloom mural, Wadsworth Galbraith donated a ton of spray paint for us. We only used a fourth of that spray paint. So we do have supplies to do this. We just need your backing on this. Bloom is going to become an annual event. So just so y'all know that will bring people into. I sold 400. We had 400 people that have either been to Winnsboro, came to Winnsboro, have never been to Winnsboro. They got to experience us with our best coat on. This can only help us, I think, as a community, as an artist community. But the bigger thing is one of the reasons why I am in this town is I grew up in Paris. Paris was thriving when I was a kid, the downtown area. The kids loved downtown. The Bloom mural, I don't know if you've seen the post, how many people are coming to get their picture?
It was a hit at prom.
Yeah, it was.
The timing was perfect for all of the selfies around town for prom with all of the fabulous
And
Bloom
getting the younger
exhibits.
generations to come back downtown and experience fun, ice cream, dine, show their friends, and just hang out. To me, that is so important for Winnsboro. So, anyway, there's a ton. If we need by next month come up with a list of the walls of the people that are interested, we can have that for you. But there is a huge interest in this project.
Is there some type of a contract between Wood County Walls and the business that they will keep that mural up for X number of months, or what is the partnership there of where the canvas is and what commitment those businesses have to either maintain it or to allow it to be seen, you know, what's kind of maybe the lifespan of the mural, or?
There's two ways to come at that. Some of the murals we may not want to stay around.
What?
I'm just saying. No, I'm not talking about, I'm just being real here, okay? Also, we also want the inventory to rotate. But for the ones you put the big investment in, the artists and things like that, we come in and we put a seal coat over that does two things. One of them is a UV protectant that keeps the color, okay? The other one is an anti-graffiti mask. We got to test it out at Minneola, okay? Somebody came by, it wasn't the big eating mural, but we also did one over on the skate park. And somebody had graffitied on it. We came by with a power washer, and you spray it, and it just comes right off.
Oh.
These big cities, that's what they do. When they invest in these giant murals, that's what they have on there to do that.
Oh, that's
There's gonna come a point, I got asked, the meeting I had here by the equipment EDC when they were considering it. And they said, well, is there a point of saturation when you're in a time when there's all the walls, and there is a sweet spot here, right? Like in Minneola, you know, I had to present with the landmark commission. The last thing we want to do is take away from the character of the city. You want to be strategic, and where I said, you're never going to see me come with a proposal to paint the chamber building, which is the old bank there. No, that would be crazy to do that. We're looking about accent places. Where do we do that bring color and vibrancy and a sense of modern that complements and lines up with the character that we have in our downtown and what's going on. So you want to think through all of that process as you're going through it. But also, we're going to want the inventory to rotate some because we want people to come back. If I go to Windsboro, I told you that, if I go back there right now, it'll be a different experience. There'll be some iconic pieces, but there'll be different things, and you want people to keep coming back to it. So the answer to that is some of the stuff we're going to ask the places, we're asking the place where we put it, can you leave it 10 years and agree to that? And we're spraying with the stuff, it'll be fine for 10 years with the stuff that we're doing. At that point, we may decide we want something different there now. It's really not relevant anymore or something like that. And we go paint a new one up there and doing that. Some of the stuff is meant to be painted on this year as part of this competition, but then the next year we paint it white and we come back and we have the contest again. And we're changing the inventory. So I'm not dodging your question. I'm saying pin it on the wall, there's a different answer in what's going on. But yes, the big walls, and Louise is out there, we're going to say, can we leave that? Now, if something goes up and the city just really hates it and it needs to go, then we're not going to hold anybody to the 10-year rule on that. It's like, okay. But also the design, Louise works with them. Come up with a design and say, here's what we're doing. And then you go from there. There's no surprises in what's going on. We're doing that. The maintenance, we're also building a guild, so if we need to go do some maintenance on stuff like that, we'll have the infrastructure to go in and do that. I started to say if this works, it's when this works. Okay, because we're already seeing increased traffic in Minneola just for the unit and what's going on. When this works, you're going to have more of a tax base. You're going to have more sales tax. You're going to have more money to spend here to do that kind of stuff, so it supports itself. You're going to have business owners wanting to put money because they want a mural on their building because it makes people come next to their building. That's what I'm already seeing in Minneola and what's going on. Martin, there's somebody posted a picture of their motorcycle in front of the wild horses on the Union. And it popped on a Facebook feed. And somebody on there, I don't know who they were, said, that's cool, where was that? He told them all about Minneola and the directions to it and linked to where it could go. Where do you get that kind of advertising and that kind of stuff? So that's the reason we didn't put the word Winnsboro on the blue mural, because you don't need to. Because people are going to say, where is that?
We had the Welcome to Winnsboro mural on these, right? So even the blue mural now is temporary because eventually there's going to be a new building there, right?
Right.
So, but what I noticed just after one is how Facebook was saturated with people in front of that mural. Also, there was people in front of the tractor. They were going to all these art interest places to go and get your picture taken. But then on the just talking to Daniel that Taco died, his best day was Saturday at 11, since he's been on. So doing stuff that will create people to come into town like this will only draw not only revenue for us, but interest. I was in Dallas this weekend. I wore my Bloom t-shirt to an art tour, a home tour. People I didn't even know. 8 people came up to me and asked me about Bloom. They saw it on the news. They weren't able to come. I had artists asking if they could be in next year's Bloom. So there is a buzz going on. But for me, it is also important to get the kids involved. Winnsboro will not continue if we don't get their interest in maintaining what's going on here. So,
We're talking about the kids. We're already talking to the Dairy Queen. We're going to talk to some other ones too. Think of yourself as a student gallery. And we create some things even with digital arts and other stuff. We create some places even outside where we have things where we can put it behind some glass and stuff to where people that are coming to those places see the student art and even trying to work a partnership out with imprints where they're painting a mural in case of Musgrave stuff, that somebody could order it and they would print it and drop ship it and do some money for the kids and doing that kind of stuff. So there's other pieces of this. Remember, Flint Steel always circles back to the kids and where it's going to go. And it's creating an art economy for the kids that are growing up. Because honestly, I'm a teacher, I can say it. Our schools are not really set up to support the arts from an economy standpoint. And so this does that. This creates an economy. You guys are the leader in the county of showing there is a way to use the arts to drive the economy with what you've already done. The problem is getting enough flow into the town because there's an economy of scale that needs to happen. Winnsboro is really not big enough by itself to do it on a big scale. Equipment's not, Minneo's not, but when we bring the economy together and we have it in all these communities, all of a sudden, everybody in Dallas and Austin and Houston are talking about, let's go there. And so, because there's all of these things to do. It's just not another town with art. And the concept we're having with the type of art we're doing too, the interactiveness of it and things like that is what will drive it. And this is an economic investment that invests in the existing businesses. You're not talking about bringing another business in. You're talking about a retail person up here. You're talking about bringing people to your town that are going to go spend money in those retail because they're in there doing that. So, sorry. I told you I wasn't here to sell you nothing, and I'm really not. I'm losing money in this because gas is high, and I have to drive over here, and I'm a volunteer.
Question for you. If we make a donation or set funds aside, what input do we have beyond that? Is it just here's the money, y'all use it as you see fit, or we're setting aside X number of dollars, now make a proposal on how that money is going to be spent for our next step in the approval process?
I think if you want to do, so they put up money for one mural. So, and we set up your committee that's your art people. And just like if they're going to go work with an owner of the building, they're going to have to collaborate with that owner. And what is this design going to be? Okay, when we did imprints, I got with the Musgraves family and the artists, and we had Zoom meetings. We designed and we planned that, but then I had to go, I had to make sure the city was okay with it, because that was their money. The county didn't really care, it was like your city. Same thing here. The money they're using for the arts, the one that they're paying for Louise, that's kind of their thing. Now, they're going to want to make sure it fits within the city, and I think they would want to make sure they're communicating with the city, that you have something that will go in here. But there's your committee. If you want them to go out and come back with an idea to you, if you want to do it, it's your money. It depends on how you want to set that up. If you designate there's this amount of money that goes toward that mural to take advantage of those artists being here, and you want to do this contest thing, then designate that part of it. You can give the money, you've got a nonprofit, give it to the Center for the Arts. You can give it to us. We're a 501c3. My suggestion is if they want to do it, is take it on to do it locally. We're not here to build a kingdom over Flint Steel. We got plenty of it. But we'll play the role we need to. So you can just commit the funds and they know it's there, and then they can submit invoices, however we work that out. So give it to the Center for the Arts. My recommendation, if you want, if there's some sort of reason that doesn't work and you need us as the intermediary, you do that. If you just want to do it where they invoice you once we have it, you can go that way. So it's really meant, how does it work locally within each organization?
Is there anybody from the audience that is involved in this that would like to make a comment, Mary? I need your name and address, please, ma'am.
Mary White, 9502 FM 1448, President of the Board at Winnsboro Center for the Arts. I thought it might be helpful just to give you a little background as to how we did get into this. Once Todd received the grant from Wood County EDC, we were contacted. Pam Swanner is also on Wood County EDC, and so she arranged a meeting for Todd to present. Brenda Buck was also invited, but I think something came up and she wasn't able to come. So Pam and I heard the presentation. At that time, he was asking for $2,500 from each community. And so hearing this and knowing that we've talked for years about painting the side of our building, this seemed like a great opportunity for me. And it just so happens that we have a fund for an artist in residence. So we could cover the $2,500 with that. And that's why we went ahead and jumped in. It was clear from the beginning that this is a great project and that eventually the city of Winnsboro should be involved. I mean, it really should be, all the communities in the county. I just never dreamed that it would expand so far, so fast. When Todd contacted me last week and said, "Are you sure your EDC doesn't want to be involved?" I was amazed at the numbers he was quoting for the different communities. I expected that to take several years. So, whereas we can put in $2,500 for this artist in residence, you can hear from what he's saying that this is rapidly growing. I hadn't heard about the wings in Texas and those kinds of things. But that's more. He's also offered that during the festival, each community would have an opportunity to host the artist and do something. Well, he suggested a Monday Night Live. That's not happening this year, but some event along those lines would be very good for Winnsboro. That starts to get far more than what the Art Center could do. So we can probably get through this and get a wall painted, but I really think it's a bigger project. Even for the Art Center, we have plenty going on, and so we reached out to Chris Brown and also J.C. Moiser, who's here. She was the design for that balloon wall that went up. And J.C.'s really been organizing the meetings that are happening. Dennis is also involved. So that committee here in Winnsboro is already bigger than the Art Center. We're involved. We posted it at the center, but they're taking the lead on organizing it. So I think, if Winnsboro, the EDC, invests in it as well, then, anyone who's interested, this committee could grow, because there are all aspects that need to be considered, like, what kind of events, like, do we want to put in a visitor center for this or that kind of thing. Anyway, I just thought it might be helpful to hear that background. I think it's a great project, and it's clearly going places, and I think we should be a part of it.
Anybody have any questions? I guess my question would be of McKinsey. We have $30,000 set aside for nonprofits, for advertising, for other such things as this in our budget for the year. Can you tell me how much of that we have spent, and of our typical nonprofits that rely on us for advertising for their events, what is outstanding so that we know what is not dog-eared currently in the
So
budget?
year-to-date actual is $8,290, budget remaining is $21,710. As far as what typically comes, I don't know that that's static. I would have to go back and do some historical research to bring a number to you. I did have a question about the.
Of the 8290, can you tell me what's part of that? Because I've sat here long enough, I know who's going to be coming between now and July. approximately how much they're going to ask for based on,
Yeah, I don't have, I would have no way of knowing I'd have to go and pull the records.
okay.
But we also have the special project line that we spoke about earlier. The special projects and prospects line. We budgeted 114.8 in that line, and then we submitted 90 for the PCA grant.
If I made equipment, pulled it out of the line item, they have for building facades, could they consider painting on there as an improvement of the building facade? So, maybe they'll buy it, come to pay it.
We've got 50,000 set aside for facade grants and other requests from business improvements.
Okay, I have a comment. Y'all know me, I have a comment.
That's what we need.
I personally think this is great. I mean, I just can't see this as nothing but a win-win. I love the Bloom thing downtown, the mural. I love the event. Anything to bring business into Winnsboro, I think, is always a plus. Also, I can't get past the point that it also would include children of Winnsboro, probably in the future as well. That's always a plus. I totally agree that I don't think sports are. We're gonna watch TV a minute. No. I don't think they're represented as well as they should be in the school system. I know we do have some programs, but I don't think it's anything to the degree that.
We reached out to the high school regarding the Bloom mural. Unfortunately, it fell the Saturday beginning of spring break.
Right.
So there was not as much participation from
Right,
the
right.
kids. But if I have anything to do with this, my deal is to get the younger generations involved in any of the projects that we can.
Right.
I don't know if you guys were able to see the competition that was at the annex with the high school students, but it was phenomenal. The
Yeah.
talent that we have in this area. So, anyway.
I just don't, I personally cannot see how we would lose in investing in this. I really can't. Anything to bring in more business to Winnsboro, to get Winnsboro in the spotlight, I think that's what we want. I think that's what the whole community wants. We are very fortunate to have some very talented artists that reside in Winnsboro, that come to Winnsboro. I do know some of them. Some of them I know by contact. Mr. Dennis back there, my sister knows you, but I was shocked to see Raleigh Alexander. I've known him. He was one of my son's best friends. So everything was it just felt like it was a home thing that happened, and it just turned out great. I just can't see how we would lose not, involved in that problem.
Marcia, any comments?
No, I'm thinking.
How was the artist chosen? Do we go with somebody local, or is it specific to find somebody else? First, second?
The first one was, I had to get some artists locked down. We put out on the website for artists to submit stuff, but really the project wasn't that well known, and we had to make sure the project went down. So I talked to Luis, and I said, who's your network? And he brought in all of these ridiculously good people. So we basically went in, and I kind of looked at each artist and looked at each community who I thought would fit in each community, like the guy that's going to do Quitman is really in the nature scene. So same thing with Alba and Yancey, they're kind of that kind of thing. So Winnsboro is being pretty progressive with your art and things like that. And I thought Luis would be a good fit over here because in what he does. So for that one, we said, here's where the artists are. Now for this other second mural, y'all can pick who you want to. The advantage is we're already going to have these national artists here that we can get them to extend and get second mural out of them. I would get one from, wouldn't use Louisa again, I would use one of these others. So you get it a different up here and use these. But also, people are gonna start commissioning. We've had, I get phone calls from businesses, the one I just showed you, that was up there with the butterflies and the Texas. They said, you know, I told them, oh, here's the website, and Dennis is on there, and they had Erica Fry, and Lauren Peters are the one that was having, you haven't seen your stuff yet, when they did it, and they went and got, so you'll be on there now. You're coming, you're coming. And so, she's already picked up 2 commissions off of that, and so they're picking up the commissions there and how you're doing. So,
I want to say something, Todd.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, J.C. Mauser, 208 South Beach Street. I designed the blue mural that we're talking about, but we had a lot of people that helped us do it. And I just want to kind of clarify something that I don't think every mural that's going to be actually registered with Wood County Walls is going to actually be footed by that bill. Okay, it's going to be more of a movement throughout the community. Other businesses are going to be reaching out, paying for commission murals. There's going to be people probably that are looking for walls that they can just go paint something on for free. And then once they do that, they'll take pictures and send that into Wood County Walls and say, I want to register this. And then it's, to me, as far as a business standpoint, it's almost like an artistic chamber of commerce or something, because it's registering your business with this specific entity to be included on a map that is exclusive to a movement throughout the whole county. So I think that where these investment dollars come in are on the big wow factor murals that we would want a professional to come in and make it happen and teach people like me and Chris and Dennis how to carry that out throughout the county and hopefully be able to gain something ourselves too, you know, as a business owner.
and we want them to learn from these guys and tie into their network. So what we're talking about during the festival, each night, each community would host the artist and feed them, but then everybody else could come in and eat with them to give these guys more opportunity to interact with them. Learn that, that's a different canvas than a lot of these artists are used to doing, but also to get to know them so that when they've got a project, they pick up the phone and call these guys. And so it's economic development in what they're doing, but you're very right. I got a phone call from the RV park that saw the mural going in across the street, called me just yesterday. Hey, how do we get in there? If we pay to get a mural here, do we get to get on the Wood County Walls website? Absolutely. And then while I'm sitting here trying to get this thing going, I get a phone call. It's an artist in Dallas that heard about it. And he says, how do I get involved? You know, can I just come down and paint a mural so that people know me and see my work? Absolutely. We can make that work. And so she's very right. You're just making an investment, but what I'm seeing is things out there as we go, and I want to address the student thing too. I've already got a meeting with the high school, she's a junior high art teacher, she's about to be the high school art teacher in Manila. How do we line up the school kids with this? How does that work? Once we show that model, then they're going to know who the Winnsboro one is and the Quitman one is and all that kind of stuff. And we're creating that economy. But what this project does, it makes the community art friendly for the kids. That they're able to do that. And they see themselves as a viable part of the community now, because a lot of these kids don't see themselves that way.
Yeah.
Because our schools are set up to pat the athletes on the back, pat the mathematicians on the back, pat the science kids on the back, but we really don't have a system that reaches out to that very creative and amazing group of kids. They're just not set up. It's just the way it is. And so, and I'm going to tell you, hospitality is one of the 5 demand occupations in this county. But we all like to think of those ones that are like bigger industry kind of things, but we're teaching those kids to feed into that economy that's already here in what's going on. It's already done.
Currently spent the $82.90. Most of that has been with our Winnsboro online guide, and then $5,000 for advertising for the MLK annual celebration. Typically, we also have the Autumn Trails Association that will come to us asking for spend anywhere between $2,500 and $5,000, depending on what their needs are for their brochure. The Chamber of Commerce typically comes to ask us for funds in the neighborhood of $2,000 to $3,000 for their gun show and for their cruise-in. The Winnsboro Center for the Arts, we have historically participated in the Art and Wine Festival as one of the sponsors for that, anywhere between 2 and 5 in that neighborhood. And then, and then, what is that, 3,500? If I could read my own writing here. Oh, the rodeo typically comes and asks for somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500 for advertising to bring in that event as well. So that's approximately another $16,000 to $18,000 of our 21,710 that has historically been spoken for. According to McKinsey, though, we also have under special projects, which I think definitely this would be considered a special project, 90 of the 114.8, leaving 24.8 available in that budget line item as well. If an actual business, I guess, comes and asks for a facade grant for that, we do match funds at that up to the $12,500, with the business paying for half of those projects as well. So I'll let y'all know what is available out there. Anytime you're bringing in folks from outside Winnsboro into Winnsboro to spend money locally, that is definitely a win for all the businesses in town. It's also a win for us in the sales tax dollars that generates, as that is how we are funded, is through folks spending money here locally, retail, restaurants, other establishments as well.
Okay, so I guess, well, all that said, do we have the 10,000?
Yeah.
Just,
Special project. That way we're gonna get it from the special project.
I'm just curious.
Got it sitting under special projects, and then that does not leave us short for any of the local festivals that are looking at coming to us at some point. So I guess your recommendation would be for us to be the seed money for the brush off, and then another 5,000 set aside for businesses to
For another mural,
request
yeah.
use, whether it's one mural or 5 $1,000 murals or
Whatever.
whatever that might be.
That would be
for
my
our
recommendation,
year.
yes.
Okay, we have, would you like to turn your recommendation into a motion that we can act upon?
Okay, let me see if I
Say
didn't
it
write this
right.
down, so let me just wing it here. Yes, I would like to make a motion to provide the, what's it called? Brush off with 5,000, and then an additional 5,000 for both of the amount of 10,000 to come out of the special, what was it? The
Project.
Special Projects Fund.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for 5,000 to sponsor the Wood County Walls brush off and 5,000 for various murals dedicated to Winnsboro. Is there a second?
I second. Go ahead.
Marcia seconded that motion. Is there any further discussion or support? Okay. All those in favor of the $10,000 for Wood County Walls project?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You did good.
Let us know what we need to do to get involved. Obviously, the publicity would be appreciated as well or if you can let us know some information on that. We would like to have some representation there.
There's a committee meeting on Friday morning, if anyone would like to join us, it's at the annex.
And we're gonna organize a photo op one person representing your EDC be there so we can announce the unified project for the whole county.
Is there any other business to come before the meeting? Seeing no further business, I will make note that our next meeting will be the fourth Tuesday of May, 5:30 p.m. here in the chamber. And I'll officially call this meeting adjourned at 7:18 p.m.
Scared?
That was a definite adjournment.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
So, quick question. So you know that promissory note, there was a mural that was painted, the guy who painted it.
Hey, the mural that's out there